my name's Star. Welcome back to my channel. Today I just kind of want to chat a little bit. I want to talk about a book that I just finished reading. It's actually a series. I don't know how popular it is. I don't know if it's like a big thing everybody knows about and just nobody's talking about it, but I actually haven't seen anyone talk about it besides like what I've read on Goodreads after like reviewing it and things like that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it. It's the Game Changer series by Rachel Reid, which I think is actually a pen name. I don't think that's her real name, but that's what it says on the book. Like, it's by Rachel Reid. It's a sports romance. It's an LGBTQ sports romance. And who doesn't love a good sports romance? I love it. It's a trope that I go for all the time. It's a trope that I live for. I love it. A good sports romance. Who doesn't love it? This one specifically is about hockey players. It takes place in the same world. It's 5 books currently, because I just read the 5th book, which just came out. So it's 5 books currently. I believe that there's going to be 6 total. And the 6th book is the only direct sequel to any of the other books, if I'm not mistaken, if I've done my research correctly. I want to talk about the series as a whole, and then individual books, ratings, the order in which my preference of the book is. So like, I'm going to rank them just for fun. I think it'll be something fun. I don't think it's a series a lot of people talk about, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So hopefully if you haven't read it, you'll pick it up and like it as much as I do. But we should just go ahead and get started. The first book that I want to talk about is Game Changer. It's the first book in the series. And along with it being a sports romance, like an LGBTQ sports romance, it follows the whole famous guy on one end and very not famous guy on the other. So it's one of those tropes as well, which is really fun for me. I enjoy it. It follows Scott Hollander and I can't remember Kip's last name, but it follows Scott and Kip. They're your main characters. Scott is a NHL superstar. He plays for a team in New York. He's captain. He's been playing for a really long time, and his goal is to get a Stanley Cup. He hasn't gotten one yet, and that is his goal. He's sole focused on that, getting a Stanley Cup. And Kip is your regular guy. He works at a smoothie shop. He's the barista. Is it a barista? In Starbucks, they're baristas. What are they in smoothie shops? Are they just, wait, they're not, because they stay at the counter person. He makes the smoothies. He does. He makes the smoothies. And the day before, or the day of a hockey game, Scott goes for a run. He goes to this smoothie place and he meets Kip. Kip makes him a smoothie, a blueberry smoothie, and they, they have their little meet cute. They flirt a little bit. It's adorable, and Scott runs away. Scott at this point is very much in the closet. He is not out. He is not proud. He's very much keeping this all to himself. He is a very public figure. He's very famous. He plays in a sport that is not typically pro LGBTQ. They use a lot of slurs and it's very offensive in the locker rooms and that type of thing. So he's not out. He's very much on the down low. And Kip, on the other hand, Kip is out, proud, and ready to party. He's looking for a relationship. He's trying to push himself outside of being in a smoothie shop. He has a degree and he's trying to find a job where he can use the degree that he has. Well, Scott continues to stop by the smoothie shop to flirt with Kip, and it's adorable, and they eventually start dating. But they date in secret. Kip is practically forced back into the closet. He's forced to keep secrets and tell lies, and that's hard for him. He's been out for a while and he never wanted this to happen. But he likes Scott so much that he's willing to do this for him, and eventually it becomes a problem in their relationship. This was great. It was funny and it was a good time. I'm pretty sure I called him Scott Hollander at the beginning, and it's definitely not. I'm pretty sure his name is Scott Hunter, and you'll understand why I made that mistake in just a moment. But Scott Hunter is his name, the hockey player, not Hollander. I was invested in this relationship from the beginning. I thought the way that they met was really cute. I thought the progression of the relationship was really natural. It grew really well, and I fell in love with the characters. I fell in love with the relationship. I wanted the relationship to succeed, which is, for me, really important. So you've got the sports romance trope, you've got the famous guy with the regular guy trope, and then you've got the dating in secret trope. It's just full of the lovely romance tropes that everybody enjoys. It was fun. It is a fun story. It has a happy ending. Like, I thoroughly enjoy these books. But yeah, Game Changer was a 4 out of 5 for me, and I really liked the couple a lot. They be spicy. These books are very much smut filled. I don't know about everyone else's reading preference, but I personally do not enjoy smut without plot. I don't. I like to be enthralled by the characters that I'm reading. If I am not connected to the characters, if I am not invested in the relationship, then I can care less about the sex. I really could. I like that these don't do that. It's not just a book full of smut. It's a plot. It is a story. It is 2 characters that you involve yourself with. You want to see the happy ending. You want them to succeed. And I really like that we get that from these books as a whole, not even just this first one. Now, what can be said about Rachel Reid's books, the Game Changer series, is that any of the books can be read as a standalone. They are set up that way, like most romance novels, like, you know, the Meghan March books and that type of thing. They can be read as a standalone. So you don't have to pick Game Changers at first. I read them in publication order because I did, but you do not have to. You can read them by preference if you want. The storylines are all different, so do as you will. I did start with Game Changer though, and I don't regret it. I've only read it twice. So I read it once and then I listened to it in audiobook. For me, the audiobook has been my favorite way to consume any of these books, but everyone's preference is different. Reading it physically was fine as well. Well, physically, I mean ebook, because they're not out. Like, you can't buy the paper book form. You have to either get it in audiobook or get the ebook version of it. I did both for all of them because I have a problem. The next book I want to talk about is the second book in the series, and my personal favorite. You know, I'm going to rank them for you later, but it's my personal favorite. It's Heated Rivalry. This is, again, it's a sports romance. They're all sports romance. The series is an LGBTQ sports romance series. This book is like goals. It is hilarious and romantic all in one. This follows 2 hockey players. They're rivals from 2 separate teams. So you have the sports romance trope, which is going to be the main trope for all of the books. It's the sports romance trope. Then you have I want to say enemies to lovers, but I don't think that that's the correct term. I think it's like lust to love. I don't know. The reason I might have said Scott Hollander at the beginning is because this guy's name, the main character, is Shane Hollander. And I actually had to refilm the beginning of this video because I called Scott Shane through the entire thing. And I refilmed it to say Scott because I confuse them quite often. Scott Hunter and Shane Hollander. So Shane has this thing going on with his like massively public rival from another team named Ilya. And they started hooking up when they were first drafted into the NHL, when they were like 19 years old. And they continued having that relationship where in public they hated each other, and they actually really did hate each other like all the time, but they would still be attracted to each other. And then somewhere along the lines, that attraction changes and the relationship changes. This is fantastic. You know, Shane is your all-around good boy. He's sweet and he's kind and he loves everybody and he's good to his friends. And Ilya is an asshole. He's the best kind of asshole. He's a jerk and it is fantastic. He is so funny that it's impossible not to love him. It's almost charming. It's endearingly charming how horribly rude he is. It's great, you know, and they both have personal issues going on, and it's interesting to watch the way they both try to get through those things apart, and they figure out that the other person is there to help them. It's a fun relationship to follow. This is my favorite relationship in the entire like Game Changers series. Every time they make an appearance, I get so happy. I get like so happy inside. They're great. The way that they love each other is amazing. And for me, this book has yet to be topped in this series. It's gotten close. It has. Rachel Reid has gotten close. But this is it. This is the book. Like, this is the one that I tell people, you know, if you get to the second book, that's going to be it. You're going to be hooked. Because the people are so endearing. The characters we meet, whether it's the two main guys or their side characters, the relationship between Shane and his parents, the relationship between Elia and his brother and his dad, it's all very captivating is the word I was looking for. Yeah, it's very captivating. I have such an interest in learning more about these characters and reading about them. It was so good. It was so good. And it's more than just the smut. Don't get me wrong. I love the smut. I read the smut. I enjoy the smut. I go finding it. I go find the spicy books. I like me some spicy books. And I go to find them. I read quite a bit of them. This specifically was more than just a spicy, sex-filled LGBTQ book. It was more than that. It was more than the sex. It was more than the, oh my God, you're so hot, let's do it. And I really like that. I like that it was about two people who were building this relationship, and from that relationship, we got the physical attraction. You don't see it often in a lot of these types of romance books. You just don't. So I'm really happy that I was able to find a series that did build the characters that way. And Heated Rivalry specifically, because I'll take Ilya Rozanov any way you want to give him to me. He is hilarious in every single book that he's in. Hilarious. I love him. He's just a 10 out of 10 would recommend. Obviously, Heated Rivalry was a 5 out of 5 stars for me, and I've reread it multiple times. I've listened to the audiobook multiple times. I thoroughly enjoy it. The next book we're going to talk about is Tough Guy, which is the third book in the Game Changer series. And this follows Ryan Price and Fabian. Ryan Price and Fabian. And Ryan, I'm going to correct myself sometimes. My husband's name is Ryan, R-Y-N-E, and I always have to, it just comes out that way now instead of saying Ryan. It's a problem, but that's okay. Ryan is the hockey player. Like, there's always going to be a hockey player involved, guys. This is the hockey player, and he gets traded often. He's an enforcer. He's a big guy, and he is known for fighting on the ice. He's traded almost every season. He never stays in one place for very long. And this next time he gets traded, he ends up in the same city as a guy he knew when he was younger. He was being boarded in a home, and the family he stayed with had a younger son the same age who was a musician, and they separated ways and they never saw each other again. Well, they reconnected in the city. You know, Ryan has like a mental breakdown. He gets traded to this other team, and he runs into Fabian, and they start hanging out. You know, Ryan is this big redheaded hockey player, and Fabian is, you know, a little feminine, wears makeup, plays music. It's interesting specifically reading from Ryan's point of view because he is a character who has a lot of mental health issues, and this is the first book in the series that touches on something other than just, you know, two guys in love. And I think that was really important. I like that we got to see Ryan struggle through his anxiety, his sexual anxiety, and having him meet someone who is okay working through those things with him. It was really entertaining. I would call it was a little more serious than the other two books. I wouldn't say it was as funny as the first two, but it was still romantic. It was still something that captivates you as far as the characters are concerned. You still get invested in the relationship. It's just not as humorous. It's definitely more serious, which is okay. I think it's something that the series needed. It was very much surprising to me. As I was reading it, I realized, oh, this is not going to be a haha funny book like the first two. This is very serious. Listening to the two main characters' point of view and their anxiety about succeeding. You know, Fabian, it has a career in music that is still new, and he's still working on getting his name out there and getting known. And he has this issue with his parents and his family where they always wanted him to be something that he's not. Ryan tried to be a better hockey player and not just the guy who beats up people on the ice, and get through that part of his career was as entertaining as anything that was funny in the previous two books. Tough Guy for me was a 5 out of 5 stars for an entirely different reason than Hated Rivalry, but it was still very, very good. I liked the serious take on the book. I liked the way the mental health issues were explained. They were done very tastefully and in a way that helped me relate as opposed to attack, if that makes any sense. The next book we're going to talk about is Common Goal, which follows, ding, 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 another hockey player, Eric Bennett, who is a retired hockey player. He just recently retired. He's freshly divorced. He meets a younger bartender named Kyle, and, you know, they meet at a party and they hit it off. Both of these characters were in the first book. They were both from Game Changers. Kip knew Kyle from the bar that he would frequent, and Eric was on the same team as Scott Hunter. So this is the first book that actually pulls characters from one of the other books. It was fine. I liked it, but it wasn't anything fantastic for me. It was fine. I think my issue is that I don't love like the age trope, and that's what this is. This is definitely, along with being, you know, another sports romance, it's definitely a, you know, an age trope. There's an age difference, a large age difference, and that's not fun for me. I don't enjoy reading those. That's just a personal preference thing, though. The characters were still engaging. The book was still good. The sex scenes were still hot. It just wasn't my preference. And that's the idea of going into a series and liking every single book that you read. It's not gonna happen, and that's okay. This just wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't like this one so much. The writing was fine. It was still good. The characters were fine, and I might have liked them more if they were in a different deal. This is one of those things where I just didn't connect to the relationship. I didn't like the relationship, which made me dislike the characters a little. Entertaining for me was anytime I would get a glimpse of Scott and Kip. So this was a 3 out of 5 stars for me. I lost 2 stars based off of enjoyment. I did not like the book. The writing was really good though. So was the plot of the story. Like, I understood it and I liked it, and I probably would have enjoyed the same exact book with 2 different characters. So it just wasn't for me. The age thing, I think, is what really got me. I'm not huge on the age tropes, and that's what got me. But it was a 3 out of 5, and I'm sure if you do like age tropes that this will be good for you. It just was not for me personally. The very last book we're going to talk about is Role Model. This is the most recent book in the series, and as I was reading it, I made it like halfway through. I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be better than Hated Rivalry. It just is, I'm there for it, and I love it. This follows one of the characters from Tough Guy, Troy Bennett, who was this jerk, homophobic hockey player who said really crude things in Ryan's presence, and just wasn't a good deal. And he had a teammate that he was with constantly. Well, these rumors came out accusing the teammate, of raping these girls. And he confronts him about it and basically says, you know, I believe those girls. I believe that you did it. He then gets traded to another team, a team that wasn't very good. But you know who's on this team? My boy Ilya, which automatically makes anything good. But he gets put on the Ottawa team, and he cuts off communication with this guy, the best friend, who is just not a good guy. And when he joins this team, he meets their social media person, and his name is Harris, and it's fun. They hit it off. Troy comes off as this guy who's just a jerk, but not really a jerk. He just has that persona of being a jerk, and he's trying really hard to build a new outward appearance. He's trying to change the narrative, where before he was an ass, he's trying to make it seem like he's not anymore. And he's trying to get along with his teammates, and he's trying to be good at hockey, and he's trying to do all of these things to change the narrative that he was a jerk, or that he's a horrible person, or that he's a bad friend because he accused his friend of doing these things and he believes the other girls. Harris is your cute, nerdy social media guy. He spends all of his time on Twitter. He loves his family. He loves dogs. And their relationship is friends at first. And they take such a good time building that friendship that it's impossible not to want them to be a couple by the time they become really good friends. You're just like, that's the couple. That's them right there. That they should be in love. Can they be in love now? Because that's what I would like. I don't think we even got a first kiss until we were about halfway in. And that's okay. I love a good slow burn, and they slow burned, and it was so good. I like Troy almost as much as I liked Elia. Almost. But still, it was good. They're a good couple. This was a good book. I revisited a lot of characters we have already seen. So it wasn't like introducing you to a ton of new characters. A lot of the characters we'd seen already, we recognize them. We have either, like in Elia's case, had an entire book from their perspective, or they have been in the other books in some way, shape, or form. I thoroughly enjoyed these books. This one in particular was so close to beating out Heated Rivalry for my top spot. It just was. It was super, super close. I am still waiting for the 6th book, which is the sequel to Heated Rivalry. It's going to follow Elia and Shane, and it's going to be a sequel to the 2nd book, which is the one that I've been waiting for and waiting for and waiting for. And hopefully I get it soon. No pressure or anything, Rachel Reid, but if you soon. I hope. Those are all 5 of the books in the Game Changer series currently. Again, waiting for the 6th, but that's fine. I am gonna rank the 5 for you. Not that it's that hard to tell what the ranking is, just listening to me babble. But if you skipped around, or you just want to know what they are, this is them. Down here is gonna be Common Goal. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't what I wanted, which is why I got the 3 out of 5 star rating, and it's just there for me. It just wasn't what I was looking for. The 4th book, I'm gonna go from bottom to top. So the 4th would be Game Changer for me, which is the 1st book in the series. As much as I loved it, and it got me to read the entire series. As much as I loved it, I didn't attach myself to the characters as much as I did in the other books. Number 3 is Tough Guy, because who doesn't love Ryan Price? But that's number 3. Number 2 is Role Model, because it was that good. Again, it's all about the characters for me. I'm very much character driven. If you give me a character that I can attach myself to, I'll read all the way through. And that's what Role Model did for me. It got me to attach myself to Troy, and I wanted him to succeed, and I wanted him to be good. And I had to finish reading it to know that he was going to be good. So that's what I look for when I'm reading a book, is to find myself be motivated to want to continue to follow up on these characters. And the top spot, to no one's surprise, is Heated Rivalry, because I'm sorry, there is nothing like Elia and Shane. There's just not. There's nothing like them. That book just does it for me. That is everything I look for in a romance series, in like a romance book, is Heated Rivalry. That just gives me everything. That gave me all of the feels. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. That is the Game Changers series by Rachel Reid. You guys should check it out. They don't have physical books. Like, you can't go buy physical books, or I would have them. I wish that I could, but they don't have them. They only have them electronically. So you can purchase them off Amazon as an ebook, or you can get the audiobook. And I actually found it off of an app. The first time I read them, I actually got them off of an app called Hoopla, which is attached to my local library, and it has a ton of audiobooks and stuff in them, and all of her audiobooks are on there. The audiobooks are a great way to go. I really like the narrators that were picked to do these books. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I like reading the ebooks too, though. I did. The only book that I only listened to the audiobook and I didn't read the ebook was Common Goal, because I listened to it and I didn't feel the need or the want to reread it. Maybe I'll change my mind at some point and I'll do like a whole reread prior to the 6th book coming out, but I don't think so. But that's okay, because the rest of the books are amazing in my opinion. They're so good. They're like a solid spicy romance series, depending on what you like. And I liked this. I love a good sports romance, and this gives you 5 sports romances all in one fun world. I loved it. Rachel Reid created an incredible series, and I can't wait to read the conclusion. Or I can, because then it'll be over. We'll see. Maybe she'll decide to add more books after the 6th book, but I don't know. If she doesn't, that's okay. As long as I get my Elia and Shane sequel, as long as I get my Heated Rivalry sequel, we'll be good. But you guys should really check out the books. The audiobooks you can listen to for free from your local library. I mean, at least I was able to, so maybe you will too. I did end up going ahead and just purchasing them because I enjoyed them so much, and I consistently will listen to them. And then I have the ebooks for all of them. I would love physical copies. They just don't have them available for purchase yet. But that's gonna be it for this video. If you guys like stuff like this, go ahead and like this video so that I know, and subscribe if you want to hear me chat and ramble more. As always, if you guys made it to the end of this video, you've earned a cookie, so go get one. Bye.